Well, hi there. How's everybody this morning? We've been doing a little typing hellos. We need to shut this down. Shut it down. Shut it down. Ugh. So, I think I've caught up. Bigfoot fish tanks. Hello, hello. Everybody here wrenched. Everybody here is wrenched. Looks like we have Chris Robertson and it's Craig. Chris and Craig. Okay, I thought it was Chris and Chris. Sorry, Craig. Right. Uh, Detroit fish tanks. Good morning. How are you? You two, James and Roger. Here, Fishy. Oh, there she is. Dear, you're fishing. By the way, you were not on last night. I caught the women's, um, well, what do we call it? A lineup, I guess, last night, but you weren't there. I watched you. I know what we can do. Check this out. This is so cool. Coming to you directly from here, Fishy. Look at this. This is called Farewell to Greener Times and the Frog Friend. Look at the frog and look at that. And check out this absolutely beautiful, beautiful creek. How nice. Followed by Euro nymphing. I got to get back to where I was. There I am. Oh, here Fishy, not a morning person, falling back asleep after getting kids to school. Somehow ended up here while watching a weird history vid. Good morning and good night to you all. Ha ha. Well, delightful to have you here, if only for a moment, dear Fishy. And I did want to share your cute little 10-second vid with the frog and the beautiful creek. And I know what you mean about winter coming because it's all going to be shut down. But there will be a spring. Jason C. Call me daddy. Well, congratulations, I guess, Jason. Here, Fishy morning like button pound. Yes, indeed. How are we doing on the like button? We're at 11. We're at 22 in and 12 up. 22 in and 12 thumbs up. We need a few more thumbs up. There's 13. Oh, Christina Whitaker. Hello, Christina. Derek Thompson. I'm going to take these off. It's like I hear myself in an echo or muted or something. Oh, what else? Oh, Bigfoot fish tanks. 3G, Utah, Roger Salmon, James Green, Chris Robertson, Karen Naresh, Surfy, Craig Donager. We're almost there. Tam Shepard, Tag Tam. And over there, Dee Dee. Hi, Dee Dee. Done. Hit bottom. Where are we at? 24 in. Jason C. Over in Discord, I posted a link to a story where a woman caught a rare aquatic disease. I saw that. Woman in Baltimore, I think. What can we as fish keepers do to protect ourselves from similar fate? Well, I tell you what. How shall we? I had a friend once who got ringworm, and it was diagnosed coming from fish tanks. She had she maintained about 500 fish tanks as a full-time job, and had been doing so for 40 years roughly. It is extraordinarily rare. Rare enough that most of us pay no attention whatever. There's some who do, and others who simply play Russian roulette. Except you're talking about one bullet in 100,000 chambers. You know, the likelihood of getting some kind of dread disease from a fish tank is a number approaching zero. It does happen, but it happens with such extreme rarity that for people like me who are basically risk takers anyway, it's of no consequence. A woman in Baltimore got a very nasty disease. Actually, it was curious because the disease, as I recall, I read the article, Jakes, and I appreciate your posting it. It was a tropical disease, I think South American, but tropical, which means that it came in through wild caught fish and somehow made it to a fish that she had in her tank, which may or may not have been wild caught, and multiplied enough in that tank to be able to infect a secondary host. As I say, it's rare to the point of occurring. And what I should do is sit here and say, "Oh, now, well, children, we need to wear gloves, a mask, and stay 6 feet away from your fish tank." Except, ain't none of us going to do that. And I don't want to wear gloves, even rubber gloves. I don't want to wear here fishy. It's always more dangerous to get to the car than do almost anything else. Yeah, you got that right here, fishy. Turtle Creek ends up in the Ohio River, Mississippi River, honored that it starts here. Just, gorgeous. Really gorgeous. Good morning, Craig Doniger. Chris, have you harvested native minnows for a tank before? Oh, I do continuously. Most of what is in here is native. Now, not the promedzas or the chocolates, but Molly's. Oh, golly, what all is in there? Bluefin Kelly, blue line Kelly. Some in here too. Ellisoma Everglade. See some mollies back here. Yeah, whatever I catch, I keep in my tanks. I'm still trying to figure out how to aim this camera. Still trying to figure out what fish I want to keep. And I don't know. I'm going to the AAGA, sorry, American Library Association meeting, which is near Miami next week, the end of next week. And I'm hoping to find some things there that inspire me. So we'll see how that goes. Derek Thompson got me a male bristlenose to go with a 2-year-old female. Would they breed fine in the 40-gallon with the snails, guppies, and bettas? Well, they certainly should. You need, of course, to give them a cave. And several caves are better than one cave. Don't know why. They just are. Here, Fishy, Turtle Creek, Ohio River. I was under the impression you were in New Jersey. Where are you? Are you in Ohio? I don't know where I got that. And I sent you a package. I should have noticed the address. I don't though. What's funny is I clip the address from the order and paste it, and often don't even look at it. So my foolishness. Thanks for taking the time for this. What am I taking the time for, James? Oh dear. I want to get back. I want to go back to Jason's post. There are things I will not do. I wash, if not at least rinse my hands before going into a tank because I don't want to get soap in there or some other weird thing I've had my hands in. Generally, it's not a problem, but if you're out messing with the car, like fiddling around in the engine or a lawnmower or some other similar device, or if I'm out fishing in a creek, things like that, I rinse my hands, if not wash them, before going in the tank. In spite of all of the foolishness about drinking tank water, I don't do that. I have tasted it on occasion, kind of tip of my tongue taste it, but I won't drink it. Amber's here. Hi, Amber. It's a matter of just being sensible, not doing really foolish things. While there's little likelihood of getting sick, I think if you drank a glass of fish water every day, you probably would wind up sick from one thing or another. Surfy, does that make me a bottom feeder? What are we talking about? Well, you're down on the bottom of the earth, so yeah, I guess so, Surfy. Keep your immune system up, keep yourself balanced like your tank. Good advice, Christina. That's kind of key, isn't it? Staying healthy. If you're healthy, you can fight things off. That's what the immune system is. It's a system that fights things off. So if you're strong and healthy, if you're vigorous, if you're living a balanced life, as Christina put it, then you should be able to fight off near about anything. That's probably the most important insight that is needful in keeping fish. Very simply, that we say a hungry fish is a healthy fish. A balanced tank is a healthy tank. The tank itself is capable of fighting off parasites and other nasties. And the more balanced it is, more stable it is, the healthier it is, the easier it's going to be for the tank itself to be able to do that. We've been talking about water memory recently, just kind of kicking around the notion. But when we delve into it, it begins to make a lot of sense. Because the condition of the water is really key to the health of the fish. So we want to be concerned about the condition of the water And if we take the attitude that we are working with the water to help the water become as healthy as it can, then I think we're really on the right track. It's not that water is an animal so much as it is an expression of all of the animals and everything else living in it. So water itself would would uh, would want to overcome some kind of negative influence, some parasitic influence, something that would damage the life force in it. Now we don't know because we really don't know anything much at all about water memory. We also don't know much at all about water's ability to fend off sickness, disease, pollution, whatever. We do know that if your tank becomes polluted and you simply let it sit, get the pollutants out, whatever caused the problem, and let it sit, in a very short time, it'll be absolutely back to normal. And by short time, I mean a week or less. It may take 4 or 5 days for it to really begin clearing up. Generally, it'll be 2 or 3 days. So water does have the ability to kind of reestablish its balance. Chubbs is saying, I think I'd rather drink water out of my tanks than from the city tap. And what's tragic about that, Chubbs is in California, I think, where some of the best water in the world is. But municipalities and other governmental bodies have so fouled the water and destroyed the water system that Chubbs can make a comment like this. I try very hard not to use municipal water unless I have a really good handle on it, unless I really understand it. And for me, that means visiting the plant where it's processed, talking to the chief chemist, and finding out what their attitude is toward water. When I was where I am now in Venice, the water, all of the water in this area and from my shop when I had it came from a plant actually located across the street from my fish store. I called the water company up one day because I was concerned about something. Can't remember what it was. I think it was the GH of the water. And the director of the plant walked across the street, came into my shop to be able to look at my tanks and talk with me about what was going on. And I was not only impressed by that, when he began talking and we began sharing, I became genuinely impressed with his attitude toward water. For example, I do know what it was. I was calling to ask about ammonia in the water, whether it was chloramines or not. He assured me that they would never put ammonia in the water. He understood perfectly that putting ammonia in the water bonds the chlorine and provides then two very toxic chemicals to the consumer. Whereas by simply allowing the water to sit for a very short period of time, the free ammonia, free chlorine dissipates and the water is pure. He understood that, and he treats municipal water, city water, accordingly. So I don't have any trouble using Venice municipal water. I know where it comes from. It's deep well water. It is not lake water the way Sarasota does. Sarasota will buy water from Bradenton. It's lake water. So you wind up, one day you've got a GH of 250. The next day it's a GH of 5. And fish die with that kind of variation, extreme variation. That would never happen in Venice, at least so long as this guy is still working there and in control. So it matters. It matters a great deal. Chris is saying, in reference to aquatic disease, be careful of getting cuts, excuse me, on surfaces where bacteria are growing. Necrotizing fasciitis is horrible and can happen from cuts and shells. They're kind of basic cleanliness issues that we all want to maintain. One of the things that I find absolutely abhorrent is any kind of decaying matter. Not plant matter so much, although I won't stick my hand in rotting plant matter. But any kind of rotting animal matter, especially shellfish, other fish, any kind of like beef hearts. Part of the reason I don't use beef heart anymore because I don't want it fell in the tank. Anything that's deteriorating, any kind of fleshy thing that's breaking down, I consider dangerous. I don't touch it. If I have to, I wash, I rinse thoroughly. I don't always use soap, but I do rinse thoroughly. I try not to handle such stuff. I try to dispose of it in a way that gets it out of the environment completely. And I think there are basic things like that are kind of habits that we develop over the years that are able to maintain a relatively clean and stable environment. So pay attention to that, particularly if you're a new fish keeper. Pay attention to the habits that you're developing and make sure that you err on the side of being conservative. In other words, train yourself to be clean. Train yourself to keep your workstation clean. Don't let it build up with waste or even things like waste food. I think long term you can create problems that are more severe than they might be in the short term. In other words, if you have an environment, perhaps a waste environment, a corner of something, whatever, that's building up waste that never gets cleaned, and it sits there day, week, month, year after year, there's every likelihood, every reason to believe that could in time harbor some very dreadful things. So you don't want to allow that kind of condition to go on. Blake, hello, Blake. Happy to see you. Blake is tearing it up. If you don't know Blake's channel, get over to it. Post your link, please. Blake, I'm happy to see you. It's midnight there. You're being a night owl, aren't you, Blake? I so thoroughly enjoy your channel. Don't always say hi, but I'm always there. One of the things I appreciate about Blake is he goes into detail about how to do things. And I find that really remarkable. He's also a lot of fun, and a lot of people like having a lot of fun. Father Fish is not so much fun. Funny maybe sometimes. So happy to have you here, Blake. Steiner Wallaker, TDS is 0.23 to 0.30. What kind of fish are you keeping in that? Chris Robertson, Louisiana water sucked when I had to go down there for Katrina relief. We called the local sterilized water mud water. Well, any kind of storm like that is going to have pollutants galore. It'll be just frighteningly foul water. Chubbs TDS 150 to 220. That's really not a bad TDS. That's really pretty good. That's going to help maintain a pretty good balance in the tank. Relic Turtle. A while since you caught a live show. Nice to have you here. Great to have you. Chubbs is in New Orleans. How did I screw that up? That's interesting. I didn't know. Somehow. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My old brain just farts all the time. Yes, I know you're in Louisiana. In New Orleans. I wasn't where you were in New Orleans. .485 TDS. Dee Dee's 485 TDS. I've had 485 TDS. Yeah, it's pretty high. TDS of saltwater is about 1,500. So you're approaching at 485. You're approaching brackish. Brackish is about 700 to 800. So you're getting there. The Chesapeake Bay, the upper part of the bay that's still tidal, has brackish down around that level. It's particularly after a rain. So it's a lot of dissolved mineral in the water. Not necessarily a bad thing. It depends on the fish. There's some fish that really don't tolerate it, but most do. I think one of the reasons we're having trouble with live bears is we don't keep our water hard enough. Live bears are many of them tend to be brackish fish. Dennis, hello Dennis. Aquatic disease, we did that. That was Chris Robertson. Good advice about keeping surfaces clean and corners clean. Not just surfaces, but also corners. Let's see. Blake says guilty. Yeah. He is indeed. Oh dear, Christina. My husband got MRSA from working as a plumber. Half the kids got it. I and the other half were immune. That's interesting. Yeah, plumbers are facing that kind of problem every day. I mean, they're dealing with the foulest of the foul, the nastiest of the nasty. You got to give plumbers a lot of credit for risking their lives in a very literal sense just by doing their job. Emily is trying the bottled water route. Hates her city water. There's some pretty good filters, but they're also pretty expensive. If you've got small tanks, bottled water is not so much a problem. Here in Florida, Publix has water systems, water machines that are about 25 cents a gallon, and that's RO water. So it's a good way to get really pure water, which you then very often will need to remineralize. And while you're remineralizing, you also need to add carbonates, because carbonates will balance and sustain the pH. So you got to, for some, it's not worth the trouble. For others, that's a simple thing. I like using RO water because I know what I've got, but I rarely set up a tank with RO water. Chris, Blake, I watch about 10 minutes your fish room tour before falling asleep. Now, Chris, and those shrimp love the black ones. Now, Blake has an amazing fish room. When I first met Blake, I was just so impressed that this young man had such a sophisticated approach to the hobby. I think maybe he's older than he looks. I've run into it a few times, particularly here on YouTube. There are a couple of young guys, and by young I mean teenagers, who are extremely sophisticated. There are a lot who aren't, many who aren't. It is rare. It is on the level of Einstein, but it's there. They do exist, and they are amazing. And you know it when you see it, don't you? 485 TDS of calcium. Oh my God. Blake is saying 485 TDS of calcium, vastly different from 485 copper. Well, Lord knows. Yeah, you need to know the difference between GH and KH. You want to look at general hardness and carbonate hardness, particularly carbonate. But you're saying something else, aren't you? You're talking about the importance of testing for what the dissolved minerals are. And I would have to agree, a 485 of copper would be deadly. Municipal water would never have that kind of condition. It is conceivable that wild water could, but you would know it because it would be foul. There wouldn't be anything living in it. Make sure if you take live water that you're taking it from a place where that's a very healthy environment that has fish and plants living in it, that is sweet, that sparkles, if you will. You don't want foul water. You don't want water, it may be even crystal clear, but toxic. You will know if there are no fish in it. Make sure there are fish in it. Make sure there are plants living in it. Don't take water unless it is supporting the life of the animals you want it to support. Christina, if you can make your own fish tank filters, you can sterilize water. I've learned thousands of things keeping fish. Ain't that the truth, Christina? This hobby is an amazing teacher, isn't it? And it goes on and on. You know, people say to me, they talk to me about my wealth of knowledge, and I don't really consider that I have a wealth of knowledge because there's so much I don't know. But I've been at this for 70 years, and for some peculiar reason, I've retained an awful lot of what I've learned over the years. Don't know why that is. It maybe because I learned it in a happy frame of mind, in a positive frame of mind. It wasn't a struggle. I mean, any struggles were followed by eurekas at best, in which I learned something substantial and significant. But there is so much more to know always, and the hobby is so vast and complex. It is, I mean, think about it. It is as vast and as complex as the water on the earth. If we understood everything about the water on the earth, we would be God, I guess, really. I mean, how could anyone? Even the most sophisticated scientists study a narrower and narrower and narrower aspect of their field, of their field of interest. You know, they'll go down to a specific organism and study in detail for years the life of that individual organism. And it goes on and on. So yeah, it's nothing but a learning process, really. We think, I suppose, when things are going well, that we're not learning anything, but my sense is that there's a lot of learning going on when things are going well, because you're acting in ways that will at best sustain things going well. There are things you're not doing, other things you are doing to try to keep that up. Let's see, I'm getting way behind here. Let me see if I can get caught up. running my mouth. So just catching and collecting rainwater, Blake is saying, but isn't it illegal in some of the U.S.? It's illegal in one or two states, not substantially. Emily talking about rainwater and mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are not going uh, to lay eggs in water unless there is a fair amount of detritus in that water. There has to be waste. There has to be microscopic animal life in the water. One of the ways to prevent that is to cover your rain barrel to keep leaves out because leaves promote microfauna, which promote mosquito larvae. If you can keep it pretty clean, mosquitoes are not going to lay eggs in it because there won't be anything there for the babies to eat. So try to be aware of that. Also, if you run a little air stone in it, mosquitoes do not like moving water. That can also help to keep them out. Chris, control the temperature by using an aerator adapter from my faucet to adapt to my hose. That's pretty good. Let's see, Blake tapped into a downpipe and connected three 200-liter, 50-gallon olive barrels to collect rainwater. There he goes. So he's keeping a essentially closed system. Derek Thompson just got scratched by a bearded dragon and bit by a mouse. I love this job even though it's part-time. Would love to work for Father Fish. Would love to have had you, Derek. I am no longer running a retail shop. Craig says he likes the olive barrels too. I'm not sure I know what that is. Is that like a whiskey barrel? Blake is saying, I think the law states the municipality owns stormwater or something. Not sure it can be policed even if true. I expect you're right about that. Surfy, you could get a whole hog and have 5,000-liter tanks, which rig up to capture all the rainwater that hits your roof. My farm has this. Oh, go whole hog. All right. A 5,000-liter tank. The aquaculture lab in Ruskin, Florida, does precisely that. They capture all of their rainwater and have about a 5,000-gallon tank. It's a very tall, big tank. They periodically drain off the bottom to get sedimentation out. Even sediment that sits on the roof and gets washed into it. It's a closed system, but nonetheless, there is waste, detritus, whatever, that lands on the roof that gets washed in. So periodically, they'll drain the bottom of the tank to get whatever waste is settled in there out. Christina, y'all need to call your reps because part of that thing they're trying to pass right now would federalize all water, even the puddle in the road. Well, yeah, true enough, Christina. I have no intention of being political here, but the reality is, if this current legislation passes, it will fundamentally change the way every single one of us live. And we can rest assured it will end the tropical fish hobby because it will end all animal hobbies. It will end the ownership of any animals. It's as dangerous as it is possible to be. So, the reality is it cannot be overemphasized. It cannot even really be overblown. It's that bad. It's virtually impossible to say too much that's bad about it. It's that bad, and it's that dangerous, and we're at that level. I don't care what party you're in. I don't care what you believe. If you're here keeping fish, you've got a stake in this because your hobby is on the line. Call your rep, talk to them about it. They will either say we're fighting it or they will say, oh, no such thing. No, no, no. Don't believe it. Not for a minute. Enough of that. Blake, Craig, Christina, Craig, Surfy, and I are in Australia, where rainwater is sometimes the only water available. Let's see. Right. Thank you for that, Christina. Big City Bettas. Hello, hello. Big City Bettas is here. Goodness sakes. If I couldn't have collected rainwater, I never would have had such success with my wild bettas. Bravo. Absolutely. Dane Hritz. A little late, but good morning. Good morning to you, Dane. Nice to see you. No doubt, Amber, Blake says. Absolutely. Looking forward to meeting Amber next week, the end of next week at the American Libraries Association meeting. And I have a friend who's going to be putting together a collecting trip. So while we're there, there's some pretty good collecting in the area. So we'll try to get a little group together to go out. I'm going to bring my van and put as many nets and buckets and bags and whatnot as I can because I am looking forward to doing some collecting. I never get over to the East Coast, so I'm really looking forward to that. Oh, the red PVC barrels. See them in movies sometimes. Don't know that I'm aware of them. How long is the stream going for? 10 o'clock. 15 more minutes. Amber. Let's see. One of these days, I'd like to come up and discuss different bait substrates and pick your brain. Love it. That would be great. I'm going to be up Friday evening at 8:30. It's a really good slot. If you're around, that would be a fun time to do that. Because we got a bigger audience there, and it's a unique kind of audience that more people are really into substrates. So 8:30 Friday evening, or Sunday. You've been with us on Sunday. Sunday is at 6. Christina, I have a little tub with extra string algae. I get mosquito larvae out of it for my guppies. Yeah, if you've got algae growing in water, then there is nutrition in that water. And that would be susceptible to mosquito infestation, which are a wonderful fish food. But you just need to keep up with it. Tam Shepherd, neighbors have big plastic rain barrels at the end of their downspouts from their gutters. Isabella, hello, Isabella. Happy to see you. Canisteo Valley, Texans will never give up their dogs or their horses. Classification service animals. My fish are my comfort source. And I'm with you. I think yeah, that might be the straw that broke the camel's back. Big City Venice, unless I'm working, you'll have to join. If you can at all, be delightful to have you. Chris Robertson, anyone that uses a hose thread connection can use the clear 2.0 system made for RVs. You can even filter your rainwater barrels on the output. Pretty neat. Now that's an interesting thought. So there's a water filter system made for RVs that ties into a hose. That sounds very doable. My fish tanks aquatics. Hello, hello. Dee Dee's Fin Den. Hello. New England Endler. And then Chris and Emily. Chris is saying 1 micron solid carbon block kicks butt. Yeah, it would. It won't take out bacteria, but it'll take out anything else. Micron is pretty tiny. Below 1 micron is pretty tiny. So yeah, a 1 micron filter, the 1 micron carbon filter block, that's basically what's put in RO systems. The carbon filter is a micron filter block. How long will unopened fish food be good for? Stocking up on everything. New England Ember. Well, theoretically, it's good indefinitely. What I recommend is that you put it in a frost-free freezer. Got to say that slowly so I don't mess it up. A frost-free freezer will prevent moisture from getting into it and will keep it down at a level where bacteria are not likely to be able to infect it. So if you've got a deep freeze, it needs to be frost-free. That's going to be a substantial issue long term. Not so much a short-term problem, certainly a long-term problem. Chris, Emily. Now there's a good example. How do I know that? I know that because I've done it a dozen times over the years, and I've had direct experience with it over the years, and I've tested back and forth over the years. So it's that kind of knowledge. I get on young people on Discord particularly. We get teenagers coming into Discord sometimes, and sometimes they're full of themselves, and they're just spouting everything they've ever read as though it is gospel. And I sit on them like a bull. I knock them down a peg or two or three and say basically, I don't want to hear anything from you that you have not personally experienced. Nothing that you've read, nothing that's been told to you has any value whatsoever. None. It's meaningless and worthless drivel. I want to know your personal experience. That you're allowed to talk about. You're not allowed to spout off about something you've read. Doesn't always work because they don't always get it. But it's important to maintain, I think, that mentality. Emily, ring collection barrels are technically against our HOA regs, but what they don't see won't hurt them. Yeah, you always put it in the ground. So that's what cisterns are. Cisterns are generally concrete tanks built into the ground that retain that retain rainwater. Used to make frames to hold tarps to catch rainwater to drain into water tubes for farm animals. Elaine Lucart. Or Dunlap, keeping animals is a God-given right. See Genesis 1:26. Amen to that. They may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild creatures. Amen to that word, Dunlap. Canisteo Valley. Surfing. Technically, fish in an aquarium are a far cry from fish of the sea. Well, technically, perhaps, but emotionally, not so much. Christina, someone in the family just inherited land by the Ozarks. We're all getting together to move. My husband says he probably won't see me again. I'll become the legend of the wild woman in the woods. Oh, I love it, Christina. That's delightful. Absolutely delightful. I think I would enjoy living in an area like that. I've often thought about moving to the edge of the Everglades. There are people who live on the edge of the Everglades. In point of fact, there are Indian tribes living in the Everglades here in Florida. I think I would enjoy that life much more than living in this municipal center I'm in. Ozarks, that's wonderful. Chris Robinson is supporting Christina's move to the Ozarks. Canisteo, Surfy, I think fish that are raised in tanks are bigger and healthier than their wild caught parents. F1 and F2 generation are parasite and disease free and getting a healthy, steady diet. I don't know how I feel about that. I understand perfectly, and there's certainly legitimacy to acknowledging that that animals in captivity that are kept in quality conditions will outlive animals in the wild. That's absolutely true. At any given point in time, there certainly are less pollutants and less parasites, less disease in a healthy aquarium than in a healthy natural environment. And I have found sick fish in the wild. I found fish with cancers. I found fish with parasites, with external and internal disease. I've also had it in the tank. I've had the same kinds of things happen in a tank. So, well, it's certainly true that a well-kept, very healthy environment is, on balance, going to be healthier than a, a wild environment. I think it can't, and I kind of want to get back to the water memory thing here. You can't put down the power and the effect of the natural environment in maintaining the health of its members. I think that's substantial. I think it's significant. Part of the issue with pollution that we have is putting things in that water that are not naturally dealt with, that are not a part of that natural environment, good or bad, that are foreign to it in some way and require it to recalibrate itself in order to be able to deal with them. That recalibration process can take a while. We catch it at a given point in time and are abhorrent about it. But long term, the environment simply adapts to it and learns how to deal with it. It's the nature of biology to do precisely that. Canestio, I think fish that are raised in, oh, we just did that. Yeah, good insight, Canestio. I think well worth discussing. Isabella, researching whether mosquito fish are found in Alberta, but sadly they're not. I don't much like, it depends on the kind of mosquito fish you're talking about. If you're talking about gambusia, you can keep them. They're nasty little buggers. If you're talking about Formosa, I love them. They are sweet as can be. Both are mosquito eaters, as are virtually every other small fish. So what passes as mosquito fish typically is gambusia and typically is not a friendly fish. Jason said, give it 10 years, be no wild fish available. It gets rough in some places, doesn't it? It does indeed, except the black market. Well, that's curious. Let's see. Diane Hritz heard about a news story this morning where a woman was the first ever to contact a rare bacterial infection, melloidosis, from cleaning her tank. Yeah, Jason was talking about this earlier on this thread. He posted the link to that on our Discord channel. If you have not been to the Discord channel, someone please post the link. Get over there and check it out. It's amazing. We are currently at about 620 members. We have at any given point in time between 50 and 100 people online, all chatting away. We're divided into a number of topics, so you can deal in specific topics. It is very well monitored, um, a highly supervised um, site server, and one that everybody who is there is thoroughly enjoying. In addition to which, we do live streams there as well that everyone is able to join in on. So great fun. Get over to Discord and check it out. May not be your cup of tea, but it may be just what you're looking for. Lots of people have made new friends there. It's a very friendly place. Chris, the problem with healthier tank raised fish is that predation and disease removes the weak from the gene pool. True enough. True enough. And an excellent point, Dane. Excellent point. Who was that said that? Wasn't Dane? It was Canistio. Who said that? Oh, Chris. Chris Robertson did. Absolutely true. We're Dunlop. Some species of fish would be extinct if it weren't for aquarists, hobbyists, and collectors. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Let me say one thing about that, and I'll drop it at that because I have no need, interest, or desire to argue the point. I mean, you're absolutely right. It's absolutely valid. I support it, participate in it. But when you're talking about extinction, you're talking about natural selection. You're talking about a process that has occurred for billions of years here on this earth, in which virtually everything that existed 10 million years ago no longer exists today. I did say virtually. Some things do. So extinction is not in and of itself an evil. I think extinction due to the intrusion of one species against another, particularly that when that one species is us, is something we ought to be concerned about, because I don't think it is in our nature to create extinction, although we certainly seem to revel in certain kinds of extinctions. I don't. We can discuss that at length some other time. We're out of time here, guys. I thank you all for being here. Let me just get to the bottom real quick. We're right there. Christine, I have a type of mosquito fish. Breed them to feed my bluegill. I like koi food, but I like feeding them what they would eat in the wild. Absolutely. Surfing, number one for Discord being friendly. They haven't kicked me out yet. Right, and we have kicked a few out. So you're doing well. Canestio, let's not forget the impact that the CARES program has had on our hobby and endangered species populations around the planet. Absolutely. We need to discuss that whole issue in greater length. Perhaps we can do that sometime soon. Emily, a husband does the same. He also collects wild shrimp for them. Isabella, thank you, Father Fish. Have a blessed day. Jason, thank you, and bless you all. Delighted to be with you. It's been great fun. We'll see you Friday evening at what time? 8:30. 8:30 my time, Eastern Daylight Time. Friday evening. Have a great week, guys. Couple of days. See you on Friday. Bye for now.